everybody, my name's Shaun Belding and welcome to Navigate the Nasties. If you were here, if you joined in on Friday, my apologies. This, for everybody that's there, this is take two as we had some technical difficulties. Most of the technical difficulties were actually, me. But those are fixed now, so I think that we're ready to go. Somebody send me a note, please. If it looks like if you're not getting the sound again, please let me know ahead of time. And again, I do apologize for that. But anyway, here we are. This is Navigate the Nasties, and this is a program about strategies for dealing with difficult people, difficult situations. It's about strategies for success at home and at work. And I'm going to be streaming this every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you follow me on Twitter, which is Shaun.Belding, you'll also be able to, I'll be putting updates on that as well. So once we're done here, this will become live on the YouTube channel, so you can go back and visit it if you'd like. And the audio version of this will be made available as a podcast in about a week. So I'm going to have a lot of fun with this as we go through. This is the first episode, and maybe I guess I should start by telling you why I'm doing this in the first place. A wise man once told me that the best way to get through tough times, is to start doing things for other people. Because aside from just being a nice thing to do, making a difference in other people's lives is the fastest way to making a difference in your own. Now, I know that may sound counterintuitive. That sometimes sounds like a little bit of fluff, and it sounds counterintuitive to some people. And that a more logical approach is that when times get tough, you should focus on your own problems and figure out how to deal with them. But I can tell you from my experience that that's absolutely not the case. He was absolutely right when he talked about focusing on other people and why that makes such a difference. And I had sort of epiphany on this years ago now. It was, I can't even think, maybe 10, 12 years ago. I was interviewing somebody, a very, very, very successful business person, a name that many of you would know. And it was part of a research project that we were working on internally in our company. And so he was one of many people I'd interviewed, but I was sitting in his office with 3 other people. And we were talking about why he's so successful. What is it about his attitude that made him so tremendously successful? And he said, well, I think I look at the world a little bit differently than other people. And he started referring to that concept of looking out for number one. So perhaps I assume you've heard that saying, that you should look out for number one, which is that old saying that says, look out for yourself. And he said, I believe in that. I absolutely believe in that. But he said, I have a different definition of who number one is than most people do. He said, so for example, he said, if I look after your needs, he looks at me, he says, if I look after your needs, and I look after Bob's needs, and I look after Suzanne's needs, and I look after Tracy's needs, and I don't worry about mine, I just focus on looking after your needs. But then something goes wrong in my life. How many people ultimately will I have watching my back? And the answer, of course, is 4, right? Because that's the way it works. And he said, but if I just looked after my needs, just to exclusion of anybody else, and I just focused on my needs, and something goes wrong in my life, how many people do I have watching my back? And the answer, of course, is 1. And it's really hard, as he pointed out, to watch your own back. It's just, can't really do that easily. And I've never forgotten that. I've never forgotten how much of a difference that made and has made to me since I've learned that. So why am I doing what I'm doing? Well, because I think of just like so many people, for the foreseeable future in my business, the need for our services directly has kind of evaporated. It's going to come back. We're really good at what we do. We do training and consulting and customer service and leadership and building positive workplaces. We have a great track record. But folks, it's just not a priority for most companies right now, and I understand that. So like hundreds of millions of people right now in the world, I found myself looking in the mirror thinking, well, now what do I do? I got to do something. So I decided to do this. And I figured that, if I can help just one person, just one with a strategy for dealing with certain kinds of situations, or maybe a perspective they hadn't considered before, or even just by giving somebody a reason to smile, then today's been a good day. So that's kind of why I'm doing this, and I really would love to get your feedback. If you have any ideas, any thoughts, anything that I can add to this as we move forward. I'm hoping as this continues to go on, I can get some guests on. We can use some technology and make this not just me, but any thoughts you have would be really, really welcome. What I'd like to do, just for today, I want to share a story with you of an experience I had 20 years ago, maybe even longer. 20 years ago, so I was 12, by the way, then, just if you're doing the math and trying to figure out how old I am, I would be 12. But I was out on the West Coast, and I was doing a training session for clients who's still actually a client of ours. And it was on customer service. It was a training session on customer service, and it was larger than most. So the sweet spot for customer service training is kind of 12 to 18 people at the most. 12 to 16 is that real sweet spot for customer service training in terms of the effectiveness. This was a large class. This had 40 people in it. So it was set up. It was set up with sort of two columns of people with a row that going down the middle of it, an aisle coming down the middle of it, and 40 people. And we were having fun. If you've ever been to the kind of sessions that I like to run, I can be a little bit, I've been accused of being perhaps a little animated at times. And we were having fun. We were just in a segment, we were talking about body language and the impact it makes on people. We were talking about faces and how, we do different things with our faces and how that impacts people. And we were having fun. So to sort of put it from my perspective for a second, so I'm looking out at this sea of people, these 40 people out there, and I can see, and that's what anybody, if you've ever trained, you've ever spoken in front of people, that's what you're looking at, right? You're looking to make sure that people are engaged and people are enjoying themselves. So I'm looking out, and everybody's having fun. Everybody, they're smiling, people are laughing and sort of nudging each other and having a good time, all except one person. Her name was Verna. I will never forget her. And so Verna was sitting like in the middle aisle, about halfway up this aisle. She's sitting there, and so here we are in the middle of all these happy smiling people. She's just sitting there like this, looking at me. Right? And the look on her face is, the message that's coming across is obvious. It's like, I don't want to be here. I wish you weren't here. I really wish this was just gone. This is just stupid. I think you're stupid. It was just pouring out of her now. In all honesty, it didn't bother me, because you kind of, when you do this long enough, you don't let that sort of thing bother you. But it was really noticeable, because again, I'm looking out at this sea of people, and one of the things that I saw happening, and was that, I don't know, have you ever sat next to somebody that's in a bad mood? You ever sat next to that person and they're like in a horrible mood, and you find yourself getting a little quieter, and you don't sort of, you're not quite as enthusiastic as maybe you normally would be. Well, I could see that, and it was sort of started to spread. So I was thinking, okay, I'm going to have to do something about this. So we took a break. And I sort of had wandered off to the corner trying to figure out what, if anything, should I do about Verna, about somebody who just wasn't engaged. Just about then, the regional manager came over, and he said, "Oh, Shaun, this is awesome. Everybody's loving it. Everybody's raving about it. Thanks. This is bang on." And I said, "Oh, thanks. That's good to know. I'm really glad." I said, "Can't make Verna smile, though. I've been trying real hard, but I can't do that." And he just looked at me and he said, "Oh yeah, Verna." And I was meaning to tell you about her. Sorry about that. He said, Verna's son died 2 weeks previous to this. He had passed away 2 weeks ago. Apparently he got killed by he was walking to a hockey game. He had his bag slung over his shoulder with a hockey stick in his bag, and a drunk driver came off the road and killed him. This is a true story, and it still gives me shudders when I think about it. He said, I meant to tell you about it, and I'm sorry about that. And he said she didn't have to come here. In fact, she's been off work, but she just wanted to come because she thought it might give her a break in a day, and it might be something interesting. And you can imagine, here's the thing. I still kind of have a little bit of guilty sort of bad feelings about myself at this moment, because here it was, as I was in front of people and doing the program, and everybody's laughing and everybody's having a good time, and I'm watching her, with her face so serious, and all I could think of was like, don't you understand you're doing exactly the thing I'm suggesting you shouldn't do, right, in customer service? And of course, now when I understand what was going on, I just, instead of feeling bad about her, I always felt bad for her. In fact, I felt, the compassion, my whole attitude towards her changed so dramatically. And anyway, when the whole session was over, and everybody's leaving, so people come out, and I'm getting a chance to shake a few hands and say hi to people and chat with people. And she came up, and I said what you would have said. I said what anybody would have said. I said, I just heard about your horrible tragedy, and I just want to let you know that I'm going to be thinking about you. That my heart just goes out to you so much, and I'm really going to be thinking about you. And that was it. And you can imagine that's kind of all I thought about on the airplane home, on the flight home. Well, a year goes by. Fast forward 1 year, where I'm back on the West Coast with the exact same client. And as people are coming in comes Verna. So it's a very different person, as you can all imagine. I mean, while grief never leaves us, we certainly are able to. The pain. I don't know, it doesn't go away, but people deal with it and such. And it was a very different person. So she's lively, and she's bouncing up and down, and she's happy. And it was really interesting. At lunchtime in that program, she came up to me and she said, "Hi, you may not remember me." I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I'll forget you sometime soon. She said, "You may not remember me, but," she said, I need to thank you." And I was thinking real hard. I said, "You're welcome. What did I do?" And she said, "Well, you have to understand where I was at that moment in time. I'm sitting in this classroom, and everybody around me is laughing, and everybody around me is having fun." And she said, and her exact words, which I'll never forget, she said, "And here I was sitting, just feeling like God himself had forgotten about me. And everybody's having a good time," she said. "And when it was all finished, though, this stranger, this person I'd never met before, that I didn't know, made a point to come up to me and tell me that how sorry he was for me, and that he was going to be thinking about me." And she said, and all of a sudden, it's like I didn't feel alone anymore. All of a sudden, I didn't feel like I was just on my own. She said, "You have no idea how much of a difference that made." Now, what's interesting is that I didn't do anything magical. I didn't do anything that you wouldn't say. I didn't say anything that anybody else wouldn't say. But the difference was so powerful. What I learned from that, and what I took away, and I've never forgotten, was that we have that opportunity every day in our lives to make a difference in somebody's life, and you don't know what it is. You never know how much of a difference just one small kind word can make to somebody. We can say it, and it can almost just be a throwaway, to somebody. You can say, "Hey, you're looking great today," or, "Hey, I saw you do this, that looks terrific." And you've forgotten you've said it 5 minutes later, but they won't forget. We can make a difference every day in everybody's life. So going back to what I learned from this wise person that told me about trying to make a difference in other people's lives, that's kind of what I was going to suggest to you today. You see, here's the thing. If every day you focus on doing something, we're in a horrible time right now. I mean, we really are. We're in a horrible time of history for all of us, and we all have to find ways to get through it. And one of the things you can do is look for something every day, something different every day, and try it. Doesn't have to be big, doesn't have to be magical, right? But one thing every day. As I was reminded, I've been reminded more than once, that journey to 1,000 miles starts with a single step. And if you take one today, you do something today that makes your life better. And you do something tomorrow that makes your life better. Tiny things. By the end of the year, you've done 365 things. You gotta believe something is going to happen. So what I would suggest is this for you today. We'll give this a shot, and we'll reconvene again on Wednesday. But don't forget about how much of a difference that you can make to somebody. Don't lose sight of the impact of just of your humanity. We're all stressed. Everybody is having a tough time right now, and every little bit that you can do to help somebody else not only is going to help them, but when you can go to bed at night and knowing that you've made a difference in somebody else's life, that feels kind of good, and it's a lot easier to sleep. So what we're going to do, that's it for today, and I have fun with it. So if you come back on Wednesday, I am going to share with you one tip. It's an amazing tip. I don't know if you've ever had sort of that overwhelming stress. I have, like many times. I've been an entrepreneur for most of my adult life, and of course, you get the huge highs and the huge lows, and I've had to learn how to deal with it. I will give you one tip on how to deal with that stress, and it's always worked for me. It's not something I've made up. I've created it. It's quite a well-known tip. It's really easy to do, and it's something that if you're like me, where you get stressed and you find it sometimes can be a little paralyzing, it's a great way to get yourself out of it. So it'll be Wednesday, again, Wednesdays and Fridays at 12:20. I will I make sure you hit the subscribe button, because that way you'll get the updates on it, because it may end up having a different login code than before. I don't know for sure. We'll make sure that this works. But anyway, thanks for coming. This was awesome. And until the next time, stay safe and stay sane, and don't forget to have a little fun along the way. Take care, everybody.